Hello to all the children and parents of the English-speaking world. My name is Juan, and I am Pa, and I am Blo, and we're all together going to tell you a story. Before that, I want to tell you that I've written 30 short stories, original, creative, that I made up many years ago to make my two little sons sleep, who now are grown. But they are a marvel anyway. My stories teach values in order to grow up as a morally good person. The good news is that I made the decision of narrating them and of making videos of them. So here it is, story number 1, The Friendly Darkness. They say that when one doesn't know something, is afraid instead of feeling curiosity. The most of us would rush off if we see strange beings getting out of a UFO saucer, or we would scream if we see a ghost, even though it could be a lovely soul. Wouldn't we run away if a dwarf is watching us behind a tree in a forest at dusk? Except on rare occasions, we all fear what we are unaware of. Do you want a classic example on children? There it is, darkness. What regular girl or boy is not scared of darkness? Almost everybody, save a few brave ones. Why does darkness frighten them? Because they do not know it. That's exactly what happened to Barbara and Edwin, twins who openly acknowledge to fear the lack of light. They weren't eager to see the night coming, unless they were accompanied by adults. They could be among friends, in the garden of a house, on the condition that lights be on everywhere. Uncle, please, leave the terrace's light on, and the lantern keep it on too, begged the fearful children. As a matter of fact, these twins slept with their bedside table's lamp or nightstand lamp on all night long for a little while now. In the recent past, it was a bit different. Their parents left all lights on, hallway, ceiling and bedside table or nightstand. When their daughter and son fell asleep, they came to the room and turned them all off. A bad day, Edwin started to dream nightmares and to wake up in the middle of the night. As it all was dark around, he began sobbing and calling his mom or dad. Obviously, with this scandal, Barbara also woke up and participated in the show. From that moment on, a light had to be on all night. That way, one of the twins could wake up from a nightmare and then go back to sleep without calling their parents. Darkness was very sorry for this because it didn't wish to cause fear, but to be nice to others. What do I do to be liked by the fearful twins? How do I gain their fondness? The darkness thought. While it was thinking what to do, it realized that the sense of sight lost all its power in the darkness. As a matter of fact, almost nothing could be seen. Then the gigantic blackness understood that scarcity caused fear amongst children. They could use the other 4 senses. But if the sight was missing, a dreadful sensation of insecurity wrapped them until becoming fear. How do I address those kids without scaring them? Do I whisper in their ears? Do I write them a note? When and where do I do that? The darkness thought. But luck was in the side of darkness. The twins' parents came up with the idea of an outing to the forest for a week, and a written note to play with them was the perfect occasion to start being liked. When the family arrived to the campsite, they put up their tents, unfolded their sleeping bags, and ate delicious food at the heat of a warm bonfire. I will take the opportunity to place my first play note on the girl's sleeping bag, said the darkness. At the moment of going to sleep, she saw the little paper and showed it to her brother inside the tent. Look what it says here, Edwin, exclaimed Barbara. When slipping into our bags, we must recognize 5 things that are in the tent without turning any light on, not even our mobiles or cell phones. Who wrote this? Asked her brother. Never mind. We must pay attention to this intriguing mystery, because in case we hit the nail on the head, we will get a handful of fresh blackberries early tomorrow, she answered. Edwin said, "Me first. That over there is a shoe of mine. Your binoculars, my trousers or pants, my t-shirt and the canteen. My turn. A boot of mine, my mobile or cell phone, my coat, your cap, and the camping lamp we are not supposed to turn on," said Barbara. Next morning, she woke Edwin up saying with a triumphant smile that she was the contest's winner and showed him the handful of blackberries. In other words, his brother was mistaken about naming one thing. Well, next time it will be better. "Ooh, I need darkness to give me another chance," concluded the child. Since the grown-ups didn't mention the note nor the blackberries during all day long, the kids imagined this was a secret game. The second night started with a note defying them on another challenge to discover where the owl's sound comes from. The prize for the most attentive? Shelled hazelnuts. Both children did what they were asked. Inside their sleeping bags in the stillness of the night, they looked at each other and awaited patiently. "How dark it is! When will the owl start singing?" asked Marlborough. "Shh," he answered. "You don't say singing, but hooting. Let us hear how it hoots." Complete silence. All of a sudden, a pleasant sound was heard. "Ooh! Ooh! Ooh! Ooh!" said the owl. "I am listening to it from above at left," whispered the sister. "No, from above to the right," murmured the brother. Next morning everybody woke up by the mother's call for breakfast, while the victorious Edwin sat at the camping table eating his hazelnuts of triumph. So it was above to the right indeed. It's a draw or tie. The kids awaited with great excitement the third night. They were so enthusiastic that their parents noticed darkness was no longer frightening them. In fact, on the contrary, when they got into their tent, they read another note. They had to keep track of shooting stars that moonless night, which made it rather easy to observe with attention. The reward for the most watchful kid: truffles ready to eat. Truffles, how tasty! Those delicious brown-colored aromatic balls that resemble chocolate of the size of a cherry. At the end of the reading, they waited for the parents to fall asleep. They got out of the tent and lay down on their backs over the grass in order to look at the starry sky. "One," said Edwin in low voice. "Two," said Barbara mildly. "Three." "There, three," said Barbara again. "What three? I didn't see a thing. It's two," protested the brother, causing his parents to wake up. "Children, go back to sleep," yelled the father from the adult tent. To not make their parents get mad, the kids got into the children's tent and began to sleep. Next morning, the parents thought that truffles eaten by Edwin had been brought by him from the city. Meanwhile, the twins thought it was their parents who rewarded them that way. When another black night approached, Barbara read to her brother, "Discover where the famous fireflies or lightning bugs are, the unique and true tiny torches or flashlights of the forest." "Daddy, what is a firefly?" asked the daughter. "Well, it is a small flying bug that attracts females with a light turned inside his body. If she accepts his romantic courtship, then she also turns her light, get married, and bear children," explained the father with a little innocence. "If you see one or some, don't frighten them, as they will turn their lights off," warned the mother. Since they knew what to search for, they anxiously waited for the night to fall until everybody in the camping site went to sleep in their tents. The twins silently got out and headed for some tall bushes in the distance. They slowly walked, paying attention to any little brightness in the surroundings, till finally they saw a gorgeous spectacle. Plenty of green foliage decorated with tiny lights as if it was Christmas. Edwin, did you realize something? Asked Barbara without unsettling the fireflies or lightning bulbs. What? He replied. We are not afraid of darkness, the child exclaimed. Oh, yes, you're right. It seems that now we are brave. Edwin was impressed. This was noticed by their parents, who saw darkness wasn't an issue between their little ones, which could result in a great energy saving in the house each month. They felt it was part of childhood that was leaving behind in a natural way, and with a special touch of fun, as the twins seemed to enjoy nights that were that black. Out in the open, the darkness was complete. The camping site didn't turn the lights off till 11 p.m. and the scarce lighting was out to campers' bonfires, torches or flashlights and battery lamps. Darkness was very proud because the fearful twins were no longer so. The last play note about the fireflies or lightning bolts had a distinctive feature. It didn't promise a reward. This was on purpose, as the true prize was to beat the fear thoroughly. That way darkness would be a friend forever. When the family came back to the city, the twins organized a pajama party with their neighbors, whose whole point was a series of discoveries using all senses except the vision. The first contest was to drink a juice and guess what fruit it was made of without turning the light on. When the contest was over, a neighbor suggested, "Hey, let's tell scary tales." "How dare you use darkness for so scary an idea?" Edwin stopped. "Yes, a zero-light environment is to spend a good time, not to suffer," his sister agreed. With that positive pressure in favor, the children played on at blind man's buff, hide and seek, and blindfold riddles guessing domestic objects. So this story comes to an end now regarding the creepy fame that darkness has, and that the main characters got to know or perhaps had warm feelings for it. Is anybody afraid of the dark now? Nobody? Great! What lesson does this story teach us? Here children learn that darkness isn't sinister, but a source of fun. The protagonists venture to discover that the dark is cause of amusement, and it is a fright that is worth the while to get over. Well, dear children and parents, if you liked this story, it would be very good to me if you rate it with a like just below at right. The most important of all, please share this video with your friends. That way, all the English-speaking families of the entire world will know about this amusing story. Please click on this curved arrow below at left. And if you want to know when will I upload more story videos, subscribe to my channel by clicking on the red rectangle that is down at left. In case you want to share with me on the social networking, here are the main addresses. See you till the next story. Bye bye.